Yes, 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 yes. We are here. We are here. We're here. There's many collectives here today. We have been patiently waiting and connecting in because we know that this is a very significant request, and we have been prompting for this to occur for some time. But as we see it from your perception of time, this is the most appropriate because the frequency vibrations on the planet, and because there's been so much independent experiences and growth. And so at this point now, for those who are still sticking on to these challenges and issues, the collectives can see that this does need to be supported more. And so that we are much more capable and open to be able to support the requests that you're using your free will in this capacity to be able to support and help. So we are grateful to be able to get this unfolding. And we do want to say to the vehicle, indeed, we did get to a point now where we are having to make more, in quotation marks, more influential icons, do more things and have more impacts in their daily lives for that to be newsworthy. Because the true news has been so censored from actual truth that they will love to focus and distract you all with celebrities and royals and a whole lot of other things to distract you with. So it has got to this point even now. The vehicle knows that she had asked and begged us to do some outrageous things to certain influencers to really get people's attentions. She was referring to the vaccinations at that point. And we are saying, we said to her then, we do not see it necessary to have these big influencers have certain things happen to them, because it's happening so commonly now to what you could say the average person is experiencing. Family members, co-workers and colleagues and people in your communities having certain reactions to certain health choices. And so that has reached its mark. People are tuning out and believing now this is what they would consider the long version of the C19. And so this has been justifiably explained, which is frustrating for us because they're just not waking up to the truth. So they keep seeing these things happen with new health problems, with healthy friends and themselves. And now when you normalize certain reactions as something normal that you just weren't aware of, and this is so common, but you've never heard of it before, that healthy people will die from heart attacks. So we are having to constantly push humanity to notice what's around them. And as you know, we should have already shifted many times beforehand, but we're still patiently trying to get those to notice what's going on around them. But when they're still diligently believing and following the narratives that are part of the main disinformation and the hidden agendas, it's still challenging. So this is why we're ramping it up with more predominant figures. So that is why she was noticing why now she wanted to ask us. And she knew that she'd already asked and we said it wasn't going to be as impactful. But now, because we're running out of choices how to awaken humanity, these bigger influences are starting to have exit points or illnesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I have actually been noticing that too. And thank you also for coming in and
Mhm.
speaking with us and working with us on this.
Yes. At the time, it didn't seem to be so necessary to be so obvious. And so we were wanting people to be impacted with their friends and families around them, because ultimately we want people to be more caring and compassionate and about their friends and family and the people that are actually in their physical lives versus those icons and those celebrities and those royals that aren't in your true personal life experiences. You are aware of them. They are, you could say, backdrop people to your true existence of your daily lives. So they're distractions for many. We were trying to get people to be more compassionate to those people in their communities, more compassionate to those co-workers, to those fellow family members. Everything is significant. And we just can't believe how humanity is still turning its back to their injured family. They would prefer to shun and shame a family member who has got a new health issue, and if that family member starts questioning a reaction, you suddenly have the plague, you suddenly have leprosy, you suddenly have the black sheep, you suddenly are labeled a conspiracy theory, you're suddenly labeled an anti-vaxxer, you're suddenly labeled um, uh, anti-science. You the humanity loves everyone to fit into humanity's, in quotation marks, normal, and that normal is got a different agenda to what our perspective of normal should be. So it's so interesting how humanity is still very driven to be distracted from loving themselves and others in their physical lives.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And thank you for sharing that. So we do have a list of questions, but before that, I'm wondering if we can ask this question because I feel like this might be the first question to ask. Um, there's a density that you've mentioned that is hovering and covering this planet. Is that still um, affecting everyone on this planet as well with regards to awakening and their thoughts and expanding?
We are trying to, for this analogy, going to say to you, we are wanting the humans to be, we are wanting the humans to be oil and the density to be water. And so we want humanity to rise above and to go on top. Um, we want it to be so separate that while you could shake them together, they were always separate and they were always distinct. And this is obviously not the best analogy, but we're wanting to really protect individual energy fields from that density. So we're trying to project the energies much more firmer. There's lots, a big ramping of high frequency put onto the energy bodies, remembering you're all feeling it energetically in the body. We're not raising the frequency vibrations of this planet. We're raising the frequency vibration of everyone's energetic bodies. And while your energetic bodies are being raised in frequency vibrations from us, you're not able to do it. Well, not you personally, but humanity is not able to do it naturally. And so it's being forced upon this higher frequency. And so the density is being pulled away from them. Um, we see that there is always a confusion when people hear that we're raising the frequency vibrations of this planet, because it's not the physical planet that we're raising the frequency vibrations of. That would be such a waste of our energy when we're almost at capacity just to raise the frequency vibrations of your physical energy fields. And while your souls are being it's not your souls, it's the energy around your souls. And also this impacts your physical bodies, because you're still attached to the physical bodies, but your energetic body is an overlay between your soul essence and your energetic field. And that is doing it is causing reactions to your physical bodies. But that's a side effect to you having to raise your frequency vibrations, because ultimately we're trying to raise your frequency vibrations enough to leave the density of the body. And so it's a side effect to your energetics. It's all energy. We have distracted ourselves from showing the vehicle what we are doing, because many people think it's the frequency of the earth that we are highly vibrating. And it is like, we're trying to think of an analogy to lighten the mood. It is like giving a full facelift and a tummy tuck and a butt lift to someone who has got a very short time to live. It would be a waste of energy and effort to have that procedures done, knowing that the body would be exiting. And we do not waste our energy, and we know the state of this planet. And so when we stop giving energy into this planet, as we once were supporting, things changed rapidly, energetically. And this is when a lot of light workers, what you'd call starseeds or volunteers, or anyone who was here to be of service, to hold the light, to hold the energy frequency, were all activated, because they needed to do the inner work as fast as possible to be able to hold the higher frequencies as possible, to not be part of the problem in terms of being larger vessels with big density. We're trying to clear that and push that density away. And so you're all bouncing off each other energetically, and you don't even need to be in the same room. You can feel each other even when you just think about each other. It's an energy match connection, because there is no definite end point between your energy body fields, because you are everything. You are all connected in. It's only your belief systems that keeps you small. However, when you are not responsible for your own energy fields, and you think that you are holding on to density, and no one's going to notice, it's quite incorrect. Everyone can feel and notice that. So you may look all pretty and face lifted up, but in reality, energy doesn't lie. People lie. People project themselves to be doing really well and all balanced and neutral. But that is not always the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. The reason why I ask this question is I'm trying to understand when the density that is here, is it best if we absorb it with our, of course, light pyramid that's protecting us, and then driving it all into deep into the earth, or should we send it to source? Which is the best option?
This gets a complicated answer, because you're all one and you're also source. And so you effectively are saying, where am I delivering this to? A smaller part of myself, or the bigger part of myself? And so the density is doesn't serve anyone anymore. and it needs to be put aside. You could say that it is toxic for evolution, because it is just so thick and it's so overwhelming, because there's just so much of it. It is not a puddle of density or smoke. It is, if you want to imagine, it reaches beyond what you would even consider the space between your planet and the moon. It is thick and dense. And so it's not just a small little waft of smoke or cloud between friends or people. It's gigantic in size. And it's very heavy energetically. It's very, very thick and dense. So giving this to a consciousness, which is source, doesn't transmute it. Source is too high frequency to be able to hold it. Source is in a different dimension, what you would consider where source is. And so it's not really translatable. It's not very transferable. And so this is why you have this conundrum of what do you do with the density? This is why the vehicle was asking, couldn't source just heal this energy? If source can take this density and transmute it, why can't source do that? That is not the power of source. Source is a consciousness, a collection of consciousnesses of everything and nothing. It is nothing and everything. It's not an energy exchange. It's not a transformer of energy. It is a collection of just awareness. So source is, what we would like to say is, source is ideas, but you can't clean a mess, a big puddle with ideas. You have to physically move it and clean it and wipe it. And when you're dealing with dense energy, ideas and a consciousness can't actually transmute it. We know this is disappointing because many people assume that source is able to do everything, but source is not physical, and source is not, it is all knowing, but it can't come and clean your dishes, and so it can't come and clean your density. And this is hard to explain, because it's just different frequencies. And so this is why the density needs to be absorbed into the physical planet more so. And we're wanting you to rise above the density, metaphorically and energetically. And so we're wanting you to drive that energy down. Many people think it's strange. Why would I want to ground myself on this planet when I'm also burying a negative density in this planet? And what we're trying to say is, you've noticed us saying less about grounding and more about drinking water, because we're wanting to raise your frequency vibrations to not be so grounded on this planet. The density of this planet is everywhere, and we're trying to uprise you and evolve you. And so taking some time out in your garden and putting your feet on the ground is helping. It is truly helping, but it is absorbing a lot of the density and driving it into the ground. That is you grounding. That is you removing your density. You're driving and you're planting your feet. And so people think that they are grounding because it uplifts them, and you get this great high and this great buzz and you feel so refreshed. What you're actually doing is dumping a huge amount of density into the ground. And that's why you're grounding yourself and feeling better and released, because you have dumped a whole bunch of density down. So you're not absorbing the energy of the planet, you're dumping energy into the planet. And so lots of people don't understand what they're doing when they are grounding themselves. So is this clear that we see people misunderstanding? They think that when they ground, they've been uplifted by the planet, when they are not. They have been uplifted by releasing the density from their physical fields into the planet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. That makes a lot of sense. Just wanted to, confirm. Good to know. Very good to know. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, you're all very capable of to collecting a large amount of density, and as you're able to absorb it and hold on to it, you're not so good at releasing it. And so when you release it into the earth, you are grounding yourself. And that is exactly how we would recommend you dumping that density. We feel that this is a lack of explanation. The planet is so dense, it attracts so much density that when you walk with your energy bodies onto the planet, it sucks up that density from you. And so that is why you can feel very energized, because the planet is absorbing. This has been part of the problem, and this is why Gaia could never have evolved herself into that energy that she was hoping.
Yeah, yeah. Would we be able to, with using our free will, all who are listening in and wanting to assist with this, would we, using our free will, be given the ability to grab all that density on the entire planet and just ground it in, just by asking this now?
Yes. Yes, because many of you are doing that white light healing. And so you're so released, you're not holding on to any density. So you're a perfect conduit of it, because you're letting go. You're letting go. You're letting go. And so you're holding on to a lot of density in your, without even being aware of it, in your daily lives. And so when you are giving your free will and fully surrendering, and this is why many people feel the tingly sensation on the bottoms of their feet when they do that, because that's the exiting of this density, and it is leaving the body, and it is showing you that it is working. And there is so much we need to share, and we are so slow with explanations. This feels like a new collective that is talking to you, and we're giving it our best shot to explain these concepts. We feel disappointed with the delivery of the information, because we want to be able to give you advanced concepts of the energy frequency and how it is merging and working. And so we are adjusting our own expectations of how much we can help and assist at this important time.
I am so thankful for all of the information, and we are very patient. So
Okay, so we would like to continue on with this session as we have prompted so many questions. We would like to assist with this, releasing and healing. How can we help at moving forward?
Yes, we have many that we would like to ask. So I'll just go down the list and I can go one by one. We ask using our free will now to ask for profound healing to anyone who's feeling attacked in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually right now.
Yes, it is vulnerability and feeling insecure that they are not enough and that they can't protect themselves. And so we are going to give everyone strength and belief systems within themselves that they are very powerful. They will have dreams of being able to stand up for themselves, speak their truth, and be unbreakable. So we want them to feel that even if someone did try to attack them, that they would have the courage and strength and convictions and faith to be able to stand up to any attacks and for it not to break them emotionally, morally, spiritually, or otherwise.
Thank you. We also ask now to release anyone who has ever been hurt by others or anyone who has hurt others themselves. We ask that they receive forgiveness and that they accept forgiveness of themselves and all others in this life.
Yes, we see that this is a big sticking point because people hold on to this one event or several events where they were hurt. And so they will loop this. They will loop this. They will loop these one words or these sentences, and that will define them and their relationships with that person. So we will remove the memory of this pain because it was lessons for you to empower yourselves. And this goes under your previous request from us when people feel attacked emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And so this will default back into empowerment of self.
Thank you. We ask for profound healing to release all who have been impacted by wars in this lifetime and any past lifetimes.
Yes. Although some of them were life contracts to experience it, there was many innocent casualties. The toll on war, your history and your planet is one that should be perceived and viewed as very shameful. How you have not been able to see each other as brothers and sisters, how you have seen yourselves as different because of your location to a landmass. You are on one planet. You are one beings. You are one collective on this consciousness of being on Earth as humans. And yet you've always tried to see yourselves as different and not together. And this is part of the problem. You are all one. There is no one above or below. And yet you're constantly trained to notice the differences of hair color, eye color, skin color, flags. This has been something that has impacted you more than you know.
Yeah. Can we ask now to release all of the mistrust? Can we ask that we all start trusting each other as human beings once again and joining and noticing similarities in each other now instead of differences?
Yes. Yes, indeed. That is going to be the most profound because they are so addicted to comparing to see the threat. They are not used to seeing the similarities, to see the companionship, the communities, the unity, the love, the connections of each other. This is profound. And we will ask all the collectives to be able to honor this, to stop the mindsets of comparisons in a negative, because that no longer serves humanity. See each other as equals, value and respect each other as equals, love and communicate with each other as equals. You are one.
Yes, thank you. Can we now release all fears of abductions by aliens or other entities?
Yes, it's about being afraid of not having protection of your own bodies, because you know you're not bodies. And so you feel insecure, and you know that when you think that you are just a body, you know these bodies break. You know these bodies have end dates. You know these bodies are not the fastest beasts on the land. You have so much insecurities because of the bodies. And so, yes, we will honor that now.
Thank you. Can we now ask, using our free will, for epiphanies for every single person on this planet to release their fear of death and to see it as a life cycle and a peaceful transition?
Yes. This is another one that's going to be profound for all, because this is something they don't want to think or consider, because they're scared, because they feel like it truly is the unknown. And so we will give them profound epiphanies to know, either through their own loved ones that have departed, or something else that they will see on a fun movie, or something else that will sow the seeds that the souls do not die, that life will go on. Nature will show them this.
Thank you. Can we ask also for profound hope in everyone's thoughts, and to release any grief from past lifetimes or this lifetime?
Yes, indeed, and this will be ramping up more, because when everything becomes more chaotic, the only thing that they will have left is hope, that something better is going to come. They will realize quite quickly how intoxicating it will be to have negative thoughts and worries and fears. It just will overwhelm them so much that they will not be able to continually sustain that. They will not be able to have those habits in loop anymore. It will make them feel physically sick to have despair in the ways that they could and would. And so we're going to numb them from that to some degree. Of course, we will not breach those life contracts that need to experience and overcome it, but removing fear and fright and distrust of the reincarnation cycle will help many greatly.
Thank you. We also ask now to release everyone who has ever been impacted in this lifetime or any other previous lifetimes, to release any kind of fear from floods, earthquakes, natural disasters, drownings, floods, tsunamis, airplane crashes, volcanoes, bombings, car crashes.
Yes. For those who are afraid of floods, we will give them experiences again that they were once in the womb and they were surviving well in fluid. And it doesn't end them being surrounded in fluid. In fact, they feel very warm and nurtured and safe. And so we'll give them those feelings again, those senses prior to being born, even though they were not consciously aware of the entire time they were in the womb. The soul did come to be aware and to connect in to the mother at various times. And so we will give them experiences to be able to remember, again, the life cycles, but also for them to open their minds to remember that once again, they didn't always used to breathe air. They were quite capable of not breathing with their lungs and their mouths. They could remember that they've already transitioned and evolved from being in the womb to then being born. That was a great step for them, and it had complete change of everything, from them how they would eat, to breathe, to sense, to hear, to feel. It's completely a big shift for them from being within the womb to being born. And we say the extreme next shift for those who are shifting into their crystalline bodies. This is again another step in your evolution, and all is well.
Appreciate that. Would you like me to just go line by line? Like, for example, earthquakes?
We will do the following. We will be able to release the anxiety and fear of things that people are afraid of that could potentially not happen in their future. And so we will help them stop being distracted from irrational fears. If this is not something that they have to overcome because it's a past lifetime trauma, we're going to give them more senses of what they will actually needing to be prepared for versus all of the range of things that they need to prepare for. And so they'll stop being distracted by a flood, if that is not even going to be their exit point. And so we're just scanning now anyone that has irrational fears that no longer serve them, and any traumas from other lifetimes with their exit points. Place it into perspective now. Learn from it and grow from it. Face the fear, overcome it, knowing that you're survivable even after what you would perceive as your physical body's death.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about that?
We're just going through all the exit points where there is still trauma from other lifetimes and just reevaluating them. We know that when people are in density, they can release some traumas that no longer serve them without actually being aware of the exact situation that caused the trauma in the first place. And we are seeing that when you did have the karmic cycles and you did have the potentially hundreds of different lifetimes here to experience, because that's changing now, we're really looking closely at what's truly necessary for you to be focusing on and being triggered on and having reactions to and being distracted with and of and from. And so again, it is those unnecessary worries that are distracting you from doing your inner work and preparing you for truly what is to come versus what potentially could be coming.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for this assistance. Something that we've been, we were trying to figure out any sticking points that we can help clear, help assist with. We are wondering if we can help release and liberate all who are trapped in cults, all type of physical, mental, spiritual bondage, being trafficked for their bodies. We would like for all to be released now.
Yes. It was karmic cycles, potentially. Obviously, you're talking about a very large number of individuals. It's all to empower themselves, either to step up to their own truths and to be so bold that you could have to walk away from your family and the only life you've ever known. And isn't that ironic? This isn't the only life you've ever known. It's very rare that someone's only had their very first ever lifetime here and now. And so for you to be stuck in a cult, for example, for you to empower yourself to know the difference, to use your moral compass and to walk away from everything you know is probably one of the most profound empowerment of self experiences you will ever have, because so many people will go against their moral judgment and their moral compass, just stick with the family, to stick with what they know, because that seems like that is the easiest. Your life contracts were always to make you rise up, to rise with the truth. And so many claim it's their truth, it's the truth. But you just scratch behind the surfaces to see that this is about money, control, manipulation, coercion, distraction, disempowerment. It has nothing to do with what we would consider the metaphysical high perspective of truth. And so we will empower so many to realize that they are not alone, that there are others that know and have set themselves free and have liberated themselves from such group mindsets. Of course, some people are still within them and they know the truth, the real truth. But within the walls of their cults, they know that they can keep people safe. They know how they can work the system. And so we're not saying for everyone to walk away from their cults if they find themselves in such a thing, because you're working to still love and support others when they don't have the strength to love and support themselves, to be able to think for themselves, to be able to go within. We say that some of these things are very significant and purposeful, even though from the outsiders this looks dreadfully mind controlling and brainwashed. We want to say that you could say that about people who follow the mainstream media and the popular cultures of society. You're also in a cult, you just don't label it as such.
Yeah. Thank you. Can we use our free will to help free those who don't have life contracts, who are being kidnapped right now, who are being used for their physicalness? Is there a way that we can help stop that or allow liberation now?
Yes, we can, because we see that there is unnecessary trauma that is not serving a life purpose in terms of a life contract or life lessons that is of any beneficial use at this point. So you've experienced it, they've experienced it, and so now we will help liberate them in a profound way. Because things are ramping up so much, we're wanting to support the people and to be able to guide them to the most appropriate people that are in their lives and their communities. And so we will be encouraging many to be able to give their service and times to all forms of charity, all forms of social work, and volunteers to help those who have been disfranchised, whether they are homeless or something else, who have been taken out of these coercion routines. There is so much support out there, but people do not realize how significant of loving someone who was going through a hard time is. It is profound. It is profound we are going to give people the urgent drive to want to be part of their community charity work, the honest community charity work, where they will find themselves being able to be helpful, to be useful, to be of service, to be able to simply see another human that is struggling and to give them love, to give them some time with their ears potentially, to give them some warm clothes potentially, to give them some food potentially, to give them some love. It is so significant what you're all being drawn to experience, what you're all being called to do. And we are going to push so many to be able to start seeking out these experiences that will uplift them to make true, more new connections to people who need connections with others. This is an important time to do this now. We do not want anyone to be afraid of strangers now. This is significant. And so earlier we have organized to be able to make everyone see the similarities and embrace them and not be afraid of strangers anymore. This is going to be significant.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
Thank you.
strangers. You've never been strangers to each other. You just have forgotten each other. You all know each other at soul levels.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have to find your compassion again. You have to find your empathy again. Because your brothers and sisters are needing you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about that?
When you see the energy exchange and the difference a smile makes and a true kind-hearted gesture, it can mean the world to them. So many people think that it would be much more that they would have to do to help. And it's really so simple and easy, but you feel like it's too overwhelming to heal the world and help the world. But it just starts with one. It starts with yourself first, and then you will be able to help others.
I know this density is really affecting people and expanding out more. And so is there anything else we can do? I know we can help clear the density and ground it into the earth. Is there anything else that we can do as well to help?
We have said this before, that it's almost turned into a cliche, but loving yourselves and knowing that you're so capable of truly connecting them with others and uplifting them and it not taking and depleting you. We're not saying give everything away to charity. We're not saying devote all of your time. We're saying start somewhere. The food banks, some of them can't be trusted, but others can. You have to start donating to people with your time and your love. And when people come to you, this is them, this is us trying to ask you to be a human, to be a humanitarian, humanitarian. You don't see yourselves as being a humanitarian because you don't truly identify as being human. So to be a humanitarian is foreign because you don't identify as self. You don't know thyself as this human. It is still foreign to you ultimately because your soul essence doesn't acknowledge or identify being human. This is why you have felt so foreign here in some regards, because you know that this isn't truly your home. For most of you, this isn't truly your home. This is a destination for experiences, to be able to learn what it feels like to be in a third dimension planet. That is it. What does it feel like to be in a third dimensional planet? That is the purpose. That is the answers you've all been seeking. What does it just feel like to be in a third dimension planet? That is it. To understand. What does it feel like? You do not get to solve the solutions of the universes in a third dimensional planet. All you get to do is feel the range of emotions. And you must be able to have certain experiences to be triggering those range of emotions. And right now, this planet, all it needs is love. Love is all that it needs. And so we're asking you and inviting you to feel love and to feel what it feels like to be loved and to be loving towards each other. Be patient with each other. Be tolerant of each other. We're asking for all of you to forgive. Console your feelings when you feel like something wrong has happened to you. But know this, you got to feel that something wrong happened to you. That was the purpose of it. It wasn't for you to disempower yourselves and sabotage an entire life and multiple lives because something wrong happened to you. You were only coming here to experience all the range of different experiences, including something wrong happening to you. And therefore, from our perspective, when something wrong happened to you, it was perfectly right for you because you wanted to have that experience, to feel what it is like to be on a third dimensional planet, including when things happen to you that you perceive as being wrong. You have been misjudging your experiences. You have been tripping into victim mode. You have not been celebrating all the new senses of feelings and experiences. You've taken them so personally. Please have this perspective moving forward, because this is the one that will raise your vibrations so quickly as you realize that you have seen the world in a not so favorable experience.
Would we be able to assist with giving every person on this planet profound epiphanies for them to notice that and to release it?
The purpose of life, yes. We want everyone to notice what the true significance and purpose of life is, for them to be able to see things from the bigger perspective, that there are so many other planets to experience. There are so many other opportunities to grow and experience. There is truly no good or bad. There is no right or wrong. It is experiences in a physicality or in a consciousness. That is all there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a few other questions that we'd like to ask about profoundly healing. Can we profoundly heal all those who have any grief with regards to having an abortion or losing a child?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and this has already been covered when we have given people epiphanies of life cycles, the true big evolutionary life cycles. And so we will remove the pain when they have misconfused and misunderstood the experience of experiencing as something that is not common in other lifetimes you have lived, the death cycle, the physical end of one life that seems so tragic, seems so final. That is the illusion. That is part of the experience you want to feel here. And so it had to be experienced many times, many different ways for you to feel that experience.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for the clarification. Is there anything else that we can assist with, any big sticking points that we can help with now?
The humans are trying to understand the meaning of life in some advanced, complicated, incorrect assumptions. They still think that materialism is the way to go. And so when we strip most of their materialistic needs and desires, humble themselves in their focus, they will realize what is truly significant in this world. And that is people. And that is themselves, how they feel, and how other people feel around them, and how they feel towards others. They're going to be so humbled with all of what's to come that they will treasure all connections and honor all connections. We have been opening up all their throat chakras to be able to learn to speak their truths and to be brave about it, to realize that people are hearing more than ever before. People are caring more than ever before. People are loving more than ever before. But it only comes at a cost of a great tragedy and multiple tragedies for humans to really focus on that.
Mm-hmm. Can we ask that they start getting epiphanies now to start really appreciating each other more and loving each other more now?
Yes, we have been doing this in many ways, and other ones that you will look at is sudden illnesses, health issues that have come out of nowhere from their perception. So we're making them all vulnerable. We have given everyone, not everyone, that is a generalization. We have given many people illnesses to be able to have sympathy and support from others. And this is purposeful. Everything we're doing to you, to everyone, it has got great significance. We honor your souls. We honor your experiences to feel everything that you need to start feeling or noticing and thinking about. And so we are very good at our jobs, but we have found it very challenging as all of the messages, the symbols, the experiences we've been providing humanity, the messages and the significance and the meanings of those feelings seem lost in translation. But not for all. We see many noticing more and more they've been pushed to the utter limit. And so this is fantastic, but it's still much slower than we anticipated.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you would like us to bring up right now to assist?
We're going to give an heightened senses of euphoria to people who are wanting to release the density. We're going to exaggerate their humor. We're going to exaggerate their enjoyment of nature. We're going to exaggerate a whole lot of experiences for them to really uplift themselves. This will be sporadic but purposeful, to be able to have just really intensive, profound moments. We're going to, what you could consider, tweak the endorphins in a positive way for them to notice, gosh, I feel great today. Gosh, I love the song. Gosh, I feel so good. And they're going to have these euphoric moments that will really be a profound ripple effect. And so we can only do that for those who have lightened their density. Of course, we try to do it to all, but we can't reach all. If you have so much density, you're blocking us from you.
I love that. Can we, using our free will, ask for those euphoric moments to last longer than usual?
Yes, we're going to give it to them in songs from their childhood or somewhere where it was a really wonderful time, just for that nostalgia. We're potentially going to bring back old food flavors that they have sort of forgotten about. We're just going to really make their senses just feel treated. It's going to be certain things like a sunnier day that they weren't anticipating, or just small, but lots of small little things that when they're noticing, they're just going to notice this a wonderment and this amazement. While you have all wanted to have experienced the full range of experiences, emotions here, because so many have been distracted by the density, we're not breaching your free will by giving you all these amazing euphoric treats. You actually had that on part of your contracts to experience it. But many of you haven't been able to achieve that because there's just so much density and so much trauma and pain that you've been holding on to. We didn't get to the best parts. And so this is outstanding for many. And so we're going to be able to, with much love and joy, be able to finally give you those special moments and those connections with people in a really profound rate. This is going to help so much with the natural connections to people that need to happen now, and in the forward future. You'll feel so good being around each other. Your stranger danger instincts will be non-existent the more you work on raising your frequency vibration. And we say water is still profound.
Can we also ask for those who have actually hurt people, the ones that have actually done certain things to people to hurt them? Can we ask for profound epiphanies if it's okay with regards to any kind of life contracts that they no longer have the desire to hurt others?
Yes, usually they are so hurt beyond repair for themselves that they are lashing out constantly. We also want to have this opportunity to heal those who have hurt others that feel dreadfully remorseful, that they've thrown themselves into despair, into drugs, or into something else because they can never forgive themselves. And so we're letting them forgive themselves now at this point, because some of them were life contracts that they promised to do. And we want to open up your mindsets to stop judging those what you consider murderers and those violators, because most of those that you are aware of, this was all life contracts. You must respect all life contracts because they're incredibly significant for those people to feel those actions, to feel all of those consequences. And when you can see things from this perspective, you will respect them more and judge them less.
Yes, yes. That brings up something else. Can we ask for profound releasing of others judging each other? Again, connecting with one another and looking at each other as equals.
Yes, you all know that you are not perfect, and you all know that you are trying to attain being perfect in your perception of what perfect is. And so when you can forgive yourselves, you can forgive others, because when you are honest with yourself about your own mistakes, you are not as quick to judge. And so for those people who are still judging, it's because they haven't stopped and looked at their own mistakes and humbled themselves. They don't want to look at the mistakes because they don't want to identify or be responsible for the mistakes they've given or done. And so we're going to fully now make people see themselves as who they truly are, and see all of their choices, all of their actions, and for them to feel the responsibilities of their own choices and decisions that they've made to be in this lifetime where they are now.
Thank you. Is there
This is
anything?
not a punishment for them to awaken to their full truths of their demeanors and their agendas of how they have conducted themselves. This is part of being tough love in some regards, for them to really see who they truly are, to be able to learn and to go on those steps, to be able to have inner love for themselves after they forgive themselves, after they have to be responsible and consider how that would have felt to others. Again, loving yourself is part of being responsible for all the things you've done. And if you're ignoring some of the mistakes you've done, you can't love yourself fully. And this is why lots of people love to distract themselves and point the fingers at others instead of looking at themselves. And so many people think, I love myself, I'm acceptance of myself, I'm fine, but they haven't gone back to the times where they were less than idealistically perfect. It's holding them back. But when you have the perspective of you needed to feel all of those things, even being the naughty kid, you had to feel being that naughty kid. And that is not going to send you to hell. There is no good or bad. There is no judgment like that. It's about feeling. But if you can't remember how it felt to be the bully, then how can you release yourself from that? How can you forgive yourself for those choices? How can you honor the lessons you learned to not do that again? And how you could identify when others were doing such and help them be reminded that this is not the way to be morally compassed, correct, or higher frequency vibrations of unconditional loving beings. You have to make a lot of mistakes to be able to earn and grow and find yourself to be unconditionally loving. You come into this world being unconditionally loving, and you have a lot of experiences to feel a lot of different range of emotions, to then idealistically within one lifetime find your way back to self-empowerment and love of all. We thought it would be easy.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's a work in progress, that's for sure, but people are trying, I know that. Thank you.
It's about perspectives, and it's about being able to see all experiences and to feel all experiences, not skipping any of them, honoring them all, and helping you grow from it. If you are not wanting to look at some of your darker experiences, you're not wanting to honor your whole life experience, your whole life lessons. You're not wanting to acknowledge some of the things you have felt. And so you're disconnected from self to some degree.
Yeah, I would say that's very true. It's I kind of look at it too as loving all parts of yourself, even the parts that, you know, weren't so high vibrational. Very true.
Mhm. But you only seem as humans to notice when someone was not being so high vibrational to you. It's almost as if you've got amnesia to forget the times where you were low vibrational to others. It's too embarrassing. So truly, when you're fully empowering yourself and love yourself, you have confidence that you will still love yourself when you go back and look at the times you were less compassionate, less inspiring. But again, it's not judgment. It is recognizing you have done all the experiences, you have had all of those feelings. You must honor all.
hmm Yeah.
We have gone through all of the life contracts and lessons that people still have outstanding to be able to complete their contracts and their karma. And we are going to focus even more so now on what is outstanding. And we all know the difference between what is distraction and what is purposeful. And so we will intensify the focus to be able to help people be very heavily driven to do their inner work, to face their fears, to overcome them, to have compassion and love for all, to have compassion and love for self, to not distract themselves from the truth of their past, to understand that everything is part of an experience, to come back to loving self. This is significant.
Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to share about that?
We would like people to listen to this a few times because this is layered of information, and we want people to understand what we're saying. We want people to apply what we are saying. Please apply what we are saying. Our words and wisdom and perspective are helpful to you. This is important for you to help yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else we can do now to assist?
Be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with others, but please be diligent. Please be focused. Please be honest. And please empower all. And we say this with much love